should be ashamed of yourself for profiting off of your racial poison.
All right. Now, I want to apologize to you, Michelle. She joins us now from Washington. I'm sorry that happened. Mr. Shabazz, clearly a hater, who will never appear on this program again. But you handle it well. You have to give it back to guys like that. But, you know, our philosophy on the Factor, as you know, is give everybody a voice. We had to confront this guy. You had to confront him because he convicted the Duke students, said they were clearly guilty when they weren't. He's a disgraceful human being. It makes me sad that he's an American. But I'm not going to let him on again. I'm just not. You know, he crossed the line, personally attacked you. You handled it well. You gave it right back to him. And, you know, thinking about it 4 days later, what's on your mind?
Well, thanks, Bill. There's definitely no need for you to apologize. This guy is one sorry human being. And I think it was good for the nation to see that that kind of venom passes for black leadership in this country. I think it's a mistake to think that this guy is part of the fringe. In fact, over the course of my entire career, I've heard charges like that. I think he's a complete coward, and it's not merely that he called me that name, but it's also that this coward who had been on your show previously couldn't tell you to your face that he thought that you were, quote, a white chauvinist racist.
But, you know, I'll disagree with you on one thing. I don't think he's a leader of anybody but other racists like him. I think he's marginalized. I don't think black Americans even know who he is, and certainly they're not involved with his movement. It would be much more powerful if the, you know, there aren't any numbers. He doesn't have any numbers. He's like one of these loons that run around, you know, and what are you going to do? But I do have to apologize because, you know, you conduct a fair program, so do I. We don't do that kind of stuff. Occasionally it's thrown at us, and it shouldn't be, and I'm sorry I had to go through it. Now,
I just want to know if I get a merit badge for this.
Oh, Michelle, come on. You know you're #1 in our hearts. Now, Kirsten Powers is here in the studio as well. Saw it live. You were watching, right? You were watching your pal Michelle. What was going through your mind?
Oh, well, I thought, you know, it's good TV, first of all, and I thought Michelle did a good job handling herself, and, you know, you're the man keeping her down.
I'm the man keeping Michelle down? I don't think anybody keeps Michelle down. You know, I think that Shabazz nut, I think he rused the day he challenged Michelle. Because I mean, you really made him look small. You know what I mean? Talk about Stuart Smalley. I mean, you made him look like this. There's nobody that could say, oh, that Shabazz really gave it to Michelle. You just cut it. And Michelle's about 5'1", right, Michelle? Is that what you are? All right.
Almost.
Now, let's talk about this Virginia mass murder. You know, it's hard to cover a story like this. Everyone knows and is sad that this can happen in a great country like America. But usually something goes through your mind, Michelle, when it first happened. For me, it was the authorities on the campus were caught unaware and didn't protect the kids there as they should have. What went through your mind when you first heard it?
Well, as a parent, of course, the first thing that goes through your mind is, are those people who are in charge of our children's safety doing everything that they possibly can to ensure it? And I think the second thing that goes through my mind is that I think as a nation that we have to contain the almost knee-jerk collective impulse to think that there's some sort of regulatory cure for this. And there's already a big blame the guns impulse going on other cable stations. You see it in the media now, you know, that they want to renew the assault weapons ban. We know nothing about the circumstances yet about who specifically committed this crime and what reasons for it. And so to go and talk about renewing the assault weapons ban or to talk about gun control is absolutely premature and in many cases, I think, counterproductive.
No, how did you see it, Kirsten?
Yeah, well, I do think that when things like this happen, everyone wants to make sense of it, and so they do immediately go to, let's start banning guns, let's start, you know, changing the laws. But the reality is that studies have shown that even with states with concealed weapon laws like Virginia, which is a very liberal law, that there's no difference in terms of, you know, it makes liberals unhappy, it makes conservatives unhappy.
Well, in Virginia, you're not allowed to carry a gun, concealed weapon on a college campus.
Right, but you are there. But the point is that there's no difference in terms of it doesn't make you less safe. It doesn't make you more safe.
No, criminal statistics are pretty much the same. And I think you're right, Michelle. There's no regulatory capacity going to stop mass murder or terrorism. that is random. Now, you can stop al-Qaeda terrorism with good intelligence, with an aggressive campaign against those people, try to defeat them, but some lone nut, which it looks like this guy was, who was upset about his girlfriend, that's the rumor, you know, grabbing 2 9mm, you just can't do it. But then everyone is frustrated. You know, what should we say? Is this reflective of America? Why are we such a violent society? And on and on.
Well, as you pointed out, Bill, this is an anomaly on college campuses, and so again, you want to avoid that whole big nanny impulse and blaming the gun culture for doing this. I mean, clearly, it looks like that there was one lone nut here who was very despondent, as the law enforcement officials say, about a domestic situation. Look, those law enforcement officials have said themselves repeatedly over the course of the day that they cannot be everywhere, and so the policy question is, what do you do to prepare people to defend themselves in these kind of situations? And in another shootout case on a campus at the Appalachian Law School, it was off-duty police officers who happened to have guns on them that stopped that case. And you can count several cases over the past couple of years where it was private citizens who were armed,
right,
who were able to intervene in these cases, and it happens all over the country, all over the world.
Right, but they had a fairly large police presence on that university. It's 25,000, I pointed out, it's like a city. But they didn't seem to have a grasp on, you know, when 2 students are shot down in a dorm, you say, hey, there's 2 dead and we don't know where the guy is, so you stay put.